Welcome to Love You Longmont. I'm Dr. Linda Bond, and today we're going to be talking about something we all think about this time of year, giving. We're going to talk about Sample and the things they do. They walk the walk, so we're going to find out about that today. We are lucky to have Carmen Sample with us here. Now, Carmen, how did you begin to create this sort of empire that you all have of commitment?
Well, we started Sample Supports in about 2010. So at the time, my husband and I previously had been host home providers for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and I had worked in the foster care system for a long time. And so through that experience, we kind of decided, you know, we can start an agency where we can support people in a little bit of a different way. I had a background in social work. I have a master's degree in social work, and I also am a licensed clinical social worker. So I wanted to, really kind of integrate more of a clinical perspective with our plans for the people that we work with, and also make sure that we were addressing their behavior needs and their mental health needs in the best way possible. So we started Sample Supports originally just with residential services. So initially we just had host homes, and we had several people that came to us through that program, and over time we built each additional program. So we then built a day program, we then built an employment program, we have a supported living services program, and a behavior program as well.
I think it's an amazing thing that you do.
Thank
but
you.
know, when I first heard about it, I thought Sample was a place you went to get samples.
Yeah, everyone always thinks that. Even when we have the food truck, people will come and they will say,
Can I have my sample?
yeah, they'll say it's not free.
But now this was sort of your life. You were already doing this sort of thing.
Yes.
When you got married, was Mark like, oh, I don't know?
No, Mark, I think that part of what drew me to Mark was his background in this field. So he had been a host home provider for several years to a young man with a traumatic brain injury, and before he and I met. And so when we met during our engagement in the first year of our marriage, we took care of a woman with fetal alcohol syndrome in our home. And so that was kind of this great bonding experience for Mark and I, and we really got to experience firsthand of what that looks like. And previous to that, I had also worked in group homes, and I had done a lot of direct care experience, so I understood from the perspective of a direct care provider how challenging that work can be, and also how rewarding it can be. And so for me, I just really wanted to create an agency that encompassed all the different qualities that we wanted to see in our providers and in the community.
You thought it was important to give people jobs.
Yeah, and that came about kind of roundabout a little bit, where we started Sample Supports. We started with the residential program, and really through serving all the people we had in our day program and our residential program, we realized there's this huge missing link. A lot of the people that we worked with intellectual and developmental disabilities, they wanted to work. We then went to various community organizations or just regular businesses, right, and said, hey, can this person be employed at your coffee shop or at your grocery store or your restaurant? And that was kind of successful, but honestly, it can be a real challenge to employ people with disabilities because of just various things that happen. There's a lot of behavior issues that might happen. Or it's just there's a lot of job skills that need to be developed. And so through that process, we decided, we have a lot of other businesses as entrepreneurs we wanted to start anyway. I had my mother's jewelry store that we were planning on opening. We always wanted to open a restaurant, so we decided, let's take our entrepreneur spirit and open these other businesses. And then we built these businesses, and then as they were being developed, we thought, we could also use these as an opportunity to employ people that we serve. So it's kind of a win-win for both of us that, we have our entrepreneur background of we want to have multiple businesses, which we do, but it's also this great partnership with Sample Supports where we can offer some different employment opportunities, and we can also provide all the services that need to happen to make sure that person can stay employed long term. And we can do that and offer long-term employment options to people, or we can offer a training ground so that people can develop those professional skills that they need so they can go and be employed somewhere else as well.
So Sample Supports is the office.
Sample Supports, Sample Supports is our service agency. Yeah, and so Sample Supports then partners with the other businesses that we own. So my husband and I, Mark and I, own these other businesses separately. So we own Crystal Joys in 3 locations. We own an event center. We have the restaurant. We own a catering company. We own the food truck. And then Sample Supports, we choose a partner with Sample Supports to provide those ongoing employment supports, which include one-on-one job coaches. So we're able to kind of have that, ongoing relationship that's really successful.
I think one of the things that's been successful for you is sort of doing the things you really love.
Yeah.
And just expanding them, like Crystal Joy.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I read you had your first crystals and everything in your garage.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, we get bored easily, I think. So
I love that.
So for us, we're like, we want to do different things all the time. So Crystal Joys is the business I kind of grew up in. My mother owned Crystal Joys in the 80s, and she started it from just a pile of rocks, literally, that she bought on the side of a highway.
Oh.
And she developed it into this really amazing business that she traveled around to different Renaissance festivals and psychic fairs and metaphysical fairs and gym shows and things like that. And so my whole childhood was spent traveling with my mom in our RV or with our Blue Eagle, the van that we would have. And so my whole childhood was spent setting up Crystal Joys, selling the rocks, taking it down. And over time, that became our primary business as a family. So my dad actually stepped away and he started working with my mom to support that. So for the majority of my childhood, our family just traveled around and we sold rocks and jewelry. My mom started making her own jewelry. So, some of my best memories of my mom are her making jewelry on the couch, it's just, just beading earrings. And so my mother actually passed away about 10 years ago. And after that, the rock shop literally sat in my dad's garage for that entire decade.
Wow.
And so, over those years, before we started Sample Supports, Mark said, we should really try and get Crystal Joys up and running. And I was like, yeah, we should. And
maybe yes, maybe no.
maybe eventually. And so we kept talking about that. And it definitely was on my mind. And it wasn't until we actually kind of got this, we bought the space for the restaurant. So it was a 2-year process to build the restaurant. And while we did that, we started leasing a space right next door, which was really a retail space. So we then ended up converting it to a retail space. We came up with the idea and then converted it in 6 weeks. And I took one of my employees over to my dad's house and we literally washed rocks for 6 weeks. And then went through the entire process of developing a real retail store with the POS system and SKU numbers and the whole thing. And now it's expanded. So now we have 3 Crystal Joy stores. We have an online store. We sell on Etsy. We offer subscription boxes. We do all sorts of things through Crystal Joys. So it's definitely one of my passion businesses. I think Crystal Joys is probably just my childhood passion that's now this great thing that was, I think it's kind of what my mom always wanted. She always wanted like a store, know? And so it's kind of cool to see that in action and be able to actually make it a reality. It's nice.
So some of your clients actually work there now.
Exactly.
How does that work?
So we started Crystal Joys. We got that business up and running. And then we had several individuals that said, can I work there? And we said, sure, And so we started then to, figure out what we actually needed as a store. Because at the time, it was kind of a one-woman show. I mean, I was running Crystal Joys and we were running Sample Supports. And I started bringing in retail staff. And then we decided, okay, we can really employ people with disabilities in these retail positions. They just need coaching to do it. Right. So that's really what we did. We started with a few people that were really showing an interest in retail and they wanted retail experience. And these people had the disability. And so we brought them in. We gave them a one-on-one job coach through Sample Supports. Wow. And so then they're working in Crystal Joys as Crystal Joys employees, but they have a Sample Supports job coach one-on-one to help them the entire time. So they're learning retail skills and customer service skills and math skills and working the POS system and doing everything. And then about a year or so, about 6 months into it, we decided, let's make our own jewelry. And I remembered my mom, sitting on the couch. Right. And so we wanted to make sure it was quality jewelry. So we started buying all the, 14 karat gold, and we started buying sterling silver products. And then we would actually make all of our earrings and all of our necklaces and all of our bracelets. So we have a whole line of jewelry. So that was then an opportunity we could then offer also a person with disabilities. Right. So now we have people that work in retail and then they also work in production where they're making the product, and then we have people that are actually selling the product.
I understand that Fernando is one of your best salespeople. And we're going to meet Fernando right now, and we're going to meet the coach who works with him. Let's do that. This is Fernando Gomez, and he is considered one of the best salespeople here at Crystal Joy. Now, how did you learn how to sell things?
I've learned, they show me a lot.
And you have a partner or something who helps you in the shop. Well, if I came in and I wanted to buy something, say I wanted to buy an agate clock, what would you say to me?
So I would say what are you looking for? Are you looking for anything specific?
I would say I'm looking for an agate clock.
Yes, we have some over here. We have these two.
So do you know the names of all of these different crystals?
Yes.
Gosh, that's a lot to learn, isn't it? How do you like your job coach?
she's pretty nice. It's fun to work with.
Oh, that's good. And it's fun to be good at what you do, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much,
You're
Fernando.
welcome.
Samantha Henderson is at the front desk here at Crystal Joy. Now, you worked in retail a couple of years.
Yes.
And so you knew retail when you came in here. What
did.
makes Crystal Joy different to you?
Crystal Joys gives a place of meaningful employment for our individuals. And so it's completely different. You're focusing on them being able to do the work and helping them get through the shift and
How wonderful.
yeah, help them grow.
Oh, that's neat. So you're a job coach.
Yes.
Does that mean you're paired with one individual?
Yes, so we do one-on-one, and it can change throughout the day who I'm with, or from one day to the next, I should say, who I'm
really?
with. Yeah.
How do you work together? I mean, do you model behavior or do you tell them what to do?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. You're modeling what you would like them to do and how they should act and interact with the customers and the work that they should get done and things like that.
On top of that, you had to learn the names of all these crystals.
Yes.
That's a lot of work.
It's been a lot of fun though.
Oh,
yeah.
that's really neat.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
I love Crystal Joys in downtown Longmont, but Carmen, let me ask you this. Does that mean you're paying two people for one job?
Yeah, that's a good question. So no, so the way it works is that we pay the person with disabilities to work in Crystal Joys. So Crystal Joys has a contract with Sample Supports, and so we make sure that Crystal Joys pays that individual with the disability to work there at a competitive wage. So all of our individuals work at a minimum wage or above, depending on what the market value is. And then Sample Supports pays the job coach. So we bill Medicaid for all of our different funding sources, and so Sample Supports pays our job coach to be there, which is a good question because we have multiple contracts throughout the community with various businesses, and that's how it works. So really, when a business chooses to work with us in any capacity, they do get two people to come for the job, which is great.
That is great.
But they're only paying for that one person to actually do the job that they pay anybody else to do.
That's an important point.
Yeah.
Now, you had already started the idea of your restaurant before Crystal Joys. How did that
Yeah.
evolve?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my husband always wanted to start a restaurant. He has a lot of experience in the brewing industry, and he wanted to. It was kind of his dream to own a restaurant. And so through the SBA program, we were able to get a loan to purchase a property on Main Street. And originally we purchased a property, honestly, for our administrative offices, and we thought, okay. And then during the actual purchase of the property, we were really looking, because it was a retail store at the time when we purchased it, and we were looking at that, and we were thinking, this would make an amazing restaurant. And so we went back to that whole thing of my, Mark saying, this has been my dream. And I said, I know, let's try it, So then we went through the entire SBA process. We switched it kind of at the last minute to actually incorporate a whole renovation of this historic property into a 2-tier restaurant, full service restaurant, of course. Wow. And so it took us from start to finish, it was 2 years from buying the property to doing the full renovation to actually opening up the restaurant. So it was a whole ordeal. While we did that, we were building Crystal Joys.
Wow.
And then when the restaurant opened, it kind of opened these amazing opportunities, and it was really an opportunity too for us to be able to employ more people with disabilities as well. It's kind of this added, great side effect really of the restaurant industry, where we have options in the kitchen, the front of house, and doing all various positions in the restaurant that are needed to be done. Sometimes in a business it's hard to find a lot of options for people to do, and so in the restaurant it was great because we could employ multiple people doing different jobs that are all important and meaningful and necessary to the business.
Well, some people have kind of romantic getting together stories. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's hear from Mark about how they got together. This is Mark Sample, and we're in Sample's restaurant. Now, Mark, when I first saw you, you were inside the Sample's food truck.
I was,
slapping
yeah.
together sandwiches and things like that. Now, have you always been a chef?
No, I haven't. I was a brewer for about 15 years before opening the restaurant. I really got into beer as a student in Germany, and then I fell in love with just pairing beer and food, and that was kind of the idea for the restaurant was born, was to pair beer and food.
Well, that's wonderful. And how did you and Carmen get together?
Well, so I was I was working for Left Hand Brewery here in town, and I was living with and taking care of a young man with an intellectual disability. And my wife worked for the company I contracted through, and some of the social workers there thought we'd be a good fit and set us up on a blind date. So
and
they just
it
gave me her
worked.
phone number. Yeah, so.
Is that right? And
Yeah.
she said yes.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. And how long have you been married?
We've been married about 8 years now. So yeah, we've been together since 2006, and then just kind of worked together. We together before we got married lived with another young lady with fetal alcohol syndrome in our house.
Oh, my
so,
goodness.
And kind of worked together, which I think prepared us well for parenthood. And
Yeah.
I don't know, our children are 1, 3, and 5 now, so we'll see how they are when
I don't know if
see how it
anything
is as they
prepared you
get
for
older.
So, when you decided to do this restaurant, what was your thought?
Well, I had a wonderful job with Left Hand here in town. I really enjoyed working for that company, but we had the opportunity to, one, create my own vision and do what I wanted to do since I was 16. But then two, it has been really difficult to find wonderful companies like Left Hand that will invest in and work with our individuals with developmental disabilities. And here in the restaurant, we're able to provide jobs, competitive, community integrated jobs where a lot of these individuals can work and get this pride of employment that they can't get elsewhere. And we do this for a living, so we know what we're doing, and so we can set up jobs that we know our team can be successful in, but also push them to learn independent skills and grow.
But it isn't just a learning place, you also have wonderful food.
Oh,
You're
thank you so
known for
much.
that.
Yeah. No, and that's kind of the idea, right? Is it's an independent business, and we thrive and we do our own thing, and we have a lot of fun with it. We were named Colorado's best beer bar last year by craftbeer.com, so that was
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
I would hope so. I take a lot of pride in the beer that I choose.
That's good.
But then, we get to do this social enterprise part of it, which I just couldn't be prouder of. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, and that's why I couldn't pass it up.
That's really
just because
neat.
I get to do everything I want to do, from taking a culinary experience for beer and pairing food to a higher level, but then also do it and do an awesome thing every day for our clients.
I think every once in a while you surprise people. The thing that surprised me most is you all have decided not to do tips.
Yes.
How does that work?
We made this change after 2.5 years of having the restaurant open, to create a team that worked together to provide a better service model and a more consistent pay, and be able to offer our team health care and paid time off and a steady wage. We've gone to a service charge model, so we charge 18% to your bill when you come in, and from that it's expected that you're provided flawless, excellent service, and you don't have to stress out about tipping the employee, because they're well taken care of, and they explain that to everybody. They're excited to be getting that consistent pay, and this way works perfectly. People should expect the service, and it's there to pay it, and our team doesn't have to worry about money either. They're there just to take care of the guests. So.
Very exciting. You may change the world.
Yeah, we'll see.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you very much.
You have to, in order to be able to do this, you've got to have boots on the ground, as they say. So let's go meet the general manager at Samples Restaurant. Steve Nix has been a general manager since 1990, and this is a kind of a different model. It's changed up and different from probably any other place you've been a general manager of.
It is definitely a unique setting, very innovative, progressive, but fantastic. Just a great community outreach for us.
So does every employee have a double? Is that what I understand?
Well, we were set up as a traditional restaurant, and then we're integrated with Sample Supports. So meaning that we're fully work side by side with individuals with disabilities. Sample Supports has enabled us to employ them at the host position as prep in the back of the kitchen and things like that. So it's just been a great partnership all the way around. Different, yeah, but they're still running a restaurant. We still hold them accountable. They're very willing to learn and grow, just like any other individual.
And I bet you had to learn and grow.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons that attracted me to Samples, Longmont and Sample Supports is the outreach program. And it's just a different way to reach out to community, and for the community to see individuals that just want to learn and grow just like we do.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Well, the story of the restaurant wouldn't be complete unless we met an employee and a life coach. So let's go back to Samples Restaurant and meet them right now. This is Chris Miller, and Chris has worked here at Samples for about a year. What kind of work do you do here?
Hosting, busing, and water.
Very good. And how did you learn how to do that?
Job coaches like Jelani and Justin
And what does a job coach do?
helps me learns everything, just in case I slip up or something.
Do you like working here?
Yeah, actually,
What do you like best?
busing.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
So I can go into the kitchen and put the kitchen stuff into the dishpan.
Well, that's neat. I thought you might like the hosting because you're really good about greeting people.
Standing.
Standing, oh, a lot of standing. You don't get to move around much. It seemed like you were good, though. There was a little girl here earlier, and you remembered to ask her if she wanted a piece of candy. And I think that might make a difference to people to have somebody so friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate and enjoyed interviewing you. Thanks.
Thanks.
This is Jelani Ryan, and she's a job coach. Now, what does a job coach mean?
We work with our individuals to ensure they're doing their job correctly.
And what sort of jobs might they do?
We do anything from hosting, busing, dishwashing, and linens and rolling silverware.
Does it mean that you do the job with them?
Yep, side by side.
So are you paired with one person for each shift? Or?
Yep, it's one-on-one job coaching here.
Well, that's exciting. That's certainly different probably from anything you've done.
It is, yes.
You like it?
I love it. I've been in this field for 12 years and I've never been a job coach, and it definitely has its benefits.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, Chris certainly seems to enjoy it, and it's a real exciting opportunity.
Yes, he's a good worker.
That's good. Thank you so much. I love Chris's answer. He likes that job because he gets to stand up. That's so cute. Let's talk a little bit about the day program. Now, Checker, who's in charge of the program, told me to be sure not to say daycare.
That's right.
So can you explain what the day program
That's
is?
right. People always get that confused. We always really remind people like this is an adult program.
Yes.
So, our day program is unique from other service providers in the state, where we only provide community connected services. So we actually don't do any site operated services. We don't have people come to a big site and kind of do things there. Everybody that we have is in the community all day, every day. So we take groups to do some really fun activities, to do some volunteer work, to do some more skill-based activities. And so it's a rehabilitation program where they're learning social skills, community skills, and then they're also just kind of having fun.
I think that Checker said in the morning they chose to go to a park, and then they chose where to eat their lunch, and then they all kind of voted where to go next.
Yeah, we really try to make that an emphasis in our program of that it's a client choice, right? So it's the people that receive services are really going to decide kind of what we do during the day. We of course have structure, right? And we have different kind of blocks of time to make sure that we're making meaningful connections. But we definitely have a lot of options, and then people are able to kind of choose where they want to be and what they want to do and what skills they want to work on.
Well, in October, they went to the pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
So let's take a little visit to the pumpkin patch right now.
Not even a little?
Make sure forward. That's like you.
Yeah. I think he came out pretty cute.
Happy Halloween.
What's up to eat tonight?
That was one great big pumpkin we were in. So As you look at the program, are there other things that you'd like to be doing that you haven't yet?
Oh, that's a great question. So we right now are in the process of developing our foster care program and our youth services program.
Oh, goodness.
So really, we have historically kind of primarily worked with the 18 years old population to the aging population. Now we're really trying to expand to serve more of the more people with intense needs in the aging population, as well as all kids. So we actually have our foster care license. So now we're actively recruiting foster parents to join our program. And then through that, we're going to expand services as we go to make sure that we're providing the entire comprehensive kind of service realm to kids with disabilities and special needs.
And you have little children yourself. How do you do all this?
Yeah, I always joke that I have an entourage of people that help me. So I have a nanny, of course, and I have a whole team of people that rally around us. But yeah, we have a 5-year-old, 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So we're a busy family, but it's fun, and our children are also incorporated into what we do.
Sure.
And that's really important to me to make sure that they see the work that we're doing, that they also can become leaders in the community as they grow up.
Well, and that's a very important thing. I wanted to mention these beautiful crystals, and
yes.
I want to thank James Jolly for bringing them
Yes.
over, carrying this great big thing. These are Crystal Joys. Can you
Yes.
tell us about this?
Yeah, so this is one of our amethyst cathedrals. So these are actually huge geodes that are split into half and then polished. And so a lot of rock hounds really try and target amethyst cathedrals around. We also have citrine cathedrals as well. Citrine is actually the necklace that I'm wearing, so this is the color of that stone.
Before you leave the necklace,
Yeah.
did you make that or someone made
Yes,
that?
that's a good question. So these are actually ones that we have purchased from around the world, and then we add additions to them, and then we also sell the chains as well. And so, but we make earrings very similar to this as well. So all of them are sterling silver, and then we have the different stones. So we have an entire line of citrine jewelry at the store that our individuals with disabilities have made themselves.
How wonderful. And these?
Yep. So we also have, so this is crystal quartz right here, and then another set of amethyst geodes.
They're just beautiful.
Thank
They're works of art.
Yeah, they
and
are.
they're made by nature.
Yeah, exactly. At the store we have, rocks. We have rocks like this, and then we also have the entire raw jewelry and minerals set in actual jewelry form.
If you would look back for a little while at the very beginning, what you started to do, did you ever imagine it would be this big?
No, I hoped it would, I kind of, I go into things, and Mark and I both do this, where we go into situations, we kind of try to dream big, like what could it be? So I think I'm surprised by how fast it happened, just in 7 years really of developing all 5 businesses. We have multiple businesses. So that's been really great and exciting, but we want to do more, like I said, we get bored, we want to start some new things.
That is just amazing.
So we have a lot of, different ideas on the horizon, so I'm sure you'll be seeing more.
Well, Carmen Sample, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
This is a wonderful thing you're doing.
Thank you.
It's fun and it's exciting and it makes a difference.
Thank you, appreciate that.
We'll see you next time on Love You Longmont.